A cold morning. New York blurs behind falling snow. A young woman stands on a street corner, shivering, cardboard sign clutched in red hands. My mother is dying. Needs urgent surgery. Please help. Across the street, a black luxury car slows. Inside, Nathan Grant, billionaire, collected, guarded. He wasn't supposed to stop. But something about her won't let him drive away. He steps out. Walks over. Silence. Then, I don't have anything left to sell, she says, voice low. Except myself, and the little time my mother has left. He doesn't blink. Then let me buy that time. Pause. His eyes don't flinch. On one condition, I need a child. No romance. No marriage. Just an agreement. The wind cut through her coat like it wasn't there. Emily clutched the cardboard sign to her chest, arms trembling under the weight of exhaustion and cold. She hadn't eaten since yesterday afternoon. A plastic cup sat on the sidewalk beside her boots, empty except for a few coins that barely made a sound when the wind knocked it over. People passed by. Most didn't look. Some glanced, then walked faster. She didn't blame them. It was New York. Everyone had somewhere to be, something to do, reasons to look away. But Emily stayed. Because this was the only thing she could do. Hold the sign. Stand still. And hope. Across the street, behind tinted windows, Nathan Grant watched. He was running late. He was always on time, until today. His assistant's voice buzzed in his ear through the earpiece. Sir, should I let them know you'll be? No, he said quietly. His eyes didn't move. They were fixed on the girl. No makeup. Hair pulled back in a loose knot. Coat too thin for this kind of cold. But it wasn't her shivering that caught his attention. It was her stillness. Everyone else moved with purpose. She stood like time had left her behind. He stepped out of the car. The driver blinked in surprise. Mr. Grant? Nathan didn't answer. He crossed the street, one hand in his coat pocket, the other brushing away snowflakes from his sleeve. Emily saw him coming. Tall. Sure. Too clean, too quiet to be from around here. She thought he was going to walk past. She was used to that. But he stopped. Right in front of her. For a second, neither of them spoke. Then, she didn't hesitate. Please, she said, her voice barely holding together. Help me. Tears didn't fall, but her eyes burned. I'll do anything. Anything. Pause. If it means my mother lives, I'll give whatever I have left. She lowered her gaze. Which wasn't much. Just herself. And time running out. Nathan didn't blink. I'll buy that time, he said. One condition. He reached into his coat and handed her a card. I'll pay for your mother's surgery. Fully. No delays. Emily looked up, confused. In return, Nathan said calmly, you carry my child. Artificial insemination only. Medical. No intimacy. No strings. She didn't speak. But in her silence was understanding. Because deep down she knew. This was the only way to save her mother. The next morning, everything changed. Her mother was admitted into the hospital. And Emily was taken to the place where the contract would begin. Not a clinic. Not a shared apartment. A private estate, owned by the man who'd just bought her time. The house wasn't just big. It was vast. Too clean. Too still. Like a gallery designed to keep the world out. Emily stood at the entrance with a small duffel bag. One strap was broken and held together with a safety pin. The driver had called her Miss Reyes. The gate had facial recognition. Her shoes had holes. The woman who greeted her at the door wore navy scrubs and a calm expression. I'm Dr. Morgan. I'll be overseeing your care. Emily nodded once. She couldn't find her voice. The guest suite was already prepared. Soft sheets. Neutral tones. A contract folder sat on the desk like it had been waiting. Nathan wasn't there. But his signature was. Dr. Morgan walked her through the documents. Clause by clause. Emily tried to follow every word. But all she heard was her mother's voice in her head. You deserve more than this life. And Emily's own voice, quiet and tired. I just want you to stay. You'll receive full medical supervision, Dr. Morgan said. A 24/7 support team, nutrition, rest, and privacy. Emily nodded. The child, once born, will be under sole guardianship of Mr. Grant. Emily's hand hesitated over the page. Dr. Morgan's tone softened. You'll have no legal or emotional claim. Emily looked up. And that's what he wants? Dr. Morgan didn't blink. That's what he needs. Emily didn't cry. She didn't ask for edits. She picked up the pen. Her signature looked out of place on that thick, cream-colored paper, like a scratch on something too polished. The next morning, her mother had the surgery. Emily waited outside the operating room for 6 hours. Nathan wasn't there, but someone from his team was. They paid in full. The doctors didn't ask. The procedure went well. Emily's mother was stable, breathing on her own again. They moved her to a long-term care facility upstate. Quiet, clean. A place where Emily could never afford on her own. When her mother opened her eyes, Emily smiled. Tired, relieved, wearing a new coat the staff had given her. Where are we? Her mother whispered. Somewhere safe, Emily said. Her mother blinked slowly. Did you get a job? Emily nodded. Yeah, something like that. She stayed until visiting hours ended, then returned to the estate. Nathan still wasn't there, but on the kitchen island was a note. One line. Thank you for your decision. Let the process begin. No signature. Just the weight of everything she'd traded. That night she sat on the edge of the bed, the contract folder beside her. She didn't open it again. She knew what it said, and she hated that it was fair. She brushed her fingers across her stomach. It didn't feel like anything had changed. Not yet. But she knew it had, because part of her had been signed away. It took Emily 3 days to find the courage to open the fridge. Everything inside was organic, labeled, and arranged like a high-end grocery display. There were tiny glass jars with handwritten dates, ready-made meal kits, and imported fruits she'd only seen on TV. She didn't touch any of it. Instead, she made plain oatmeal using the basics she found in a dusty cabinet. She washed the bowl herself. The house was quiet. Too quiet for a place so alive with systems. Security cameras. Motion sensors. A team of people she barely saw, but who always knew where she was. Still, no one stopped her from doing laundry, or from wiping the counter after she cooked, or from folding towels neatly in the linen closet. Dr. Morgan visited twice a day, measured blood pressure, monitored hormone levels. The staff asked if she needed anything. She always said no. Emily wore the same 3 outfits. Her old sweater had a frayed sleeve. The elastic in her jeans was tired. No one commented. Though someone, maybe the housekeeper, left a box of brand new clothes in her closet. She didn't open it. She greeted every person who passed her with a smile. Thanked the cleaner for the lemon water. Helped the gardener carry tools. Offered tea to the night nurse even though it wasn't expected. It wasn't habit. It was who she was. She ate at the small table in the kitchen, not the formal dining room. And when she finished, she rinsed her dish and put it in the rack. She didn't belong here. But she would not act like she didn't deserve to stand on her own feet. Then there was the library. A tall, glass-paneled room at the west end of the estate. One morning she pushed open the door. The smell of old books and polished wood wrapped around her. She stayed for hours. Reading. Taking notes. Copying passages into a notebook she found in the drawer. No one disturbed her. But someone had left a pen exactly where she would reach for it. Nathan hadn't spoken to her since the day of the agreement. But she felt him. Not in presence. In the details. The softened light in the reading nook. The way the thermostat adjusted automatically when she sat still too long. The new tea flavors that showed up in the pantry after she mentioned them once to the cook. She never saw it happen. But it did. Then one morning she found a sketchbook on her bed. Wrapped in a strip of black ribbon. No card. No handwriting. She knew it was from him. That afternoon, while pouring herself tea, she turned, and there he was. Nathan stood in the kitchen doorway. No suit today. Just a gray sweater, sleeves rolled. He looked normal. But his eyes held that same unreadable calm. "Thank you," she said, holding up the sketchbook. He nodded. No small talk. So she filled the silence. Do you always plan everything this precisely? He raised a brow. Is that a bad thing? She smiled softly. No. Just unusual. Nathan's hands folded in front of him. I plan because it keeps things from falling apart. Her voice lowered. And does it always work? Pause. His eyes didn't move, but something in his posture shifted. No, he admitted. Not always. She didn't press. He didn't explain. But in that moment, something opened between them. Not trust. Not yet. But something like pause. Recognition. And for the first time, Nathan Grant realized he was starting to lose control. And he wasn't sure he hated it. The appointment was at 9 a.m. sharp. Emily didn't sleep the night before. She wasn't nervous. She was uncertain. Like stepping into water that looked calm but felt too deep. Nathan insisted on driving her himself. No driver. No assistant. He didn't say why. She didn't ask. The clinic was private. Glass walls, soft lighting, not a sound out of place. Dr. Morgan met them in the waiting room. Clipboard in hand. Calm as ever. This won't take long, she said. Just a routine scan. Emily nodded. Nathan stood nearby, hands in pockets, silent. The room was warm. The lights dimmed. Emily lay back on the table, her shirt lifted just enough. Dr. Morgan pressed the cool gel on her abdomen. Ready? She asked gently. Emily breathed in. Ready. The screen blinked. Static. Then rhythm. A fast, flickering pulse. Like tiny wings beating in water. That's the heartbeat, Dr. Morgan said. Emily's fingers curled against the edge of the bed. Eyes wide. Nathan took a step forward without realizing. The sound filled the room. Fast. Steady. Alive. Emily looked over at him. He wasn't watching the screen. He was watching her. Then the doctor paused. Brows raised. She adjusted the probe. There's something else. More flicker. More rhythm. Then, confirmation. 2 heartbeats. Silence. Even the machine seemed to pause. Emily sat up slightly. Her voice almost broke. Twins? Dr. Morgan smiled. Identical. Strong. Healthy. She didn't cry. But her hand instinctively reached for her stomach. Nathan didn't move. But his entire world had just shifted. Outside, the city kept moving. But in that room, time held still. That night, Emily couldn't sleep. She stood on the terrace, wrapped in a blanket. Cool breeze. City lights blinking in the distance. A hush over the world. Footsteps. She didn't turn. I thought you'd be in your study, she said softly. Nathan stepped beside her. I was. Silence. Then. I heard them today, he said. She nodded. They're real now, she whispered. A beat. I mean, they were always real. But now. They have names in your head already? He asked. She smiled. Not yet. Just faces I don't know but already love. Nathan looked out into the skyline. And then said almost too quietly. For the first time. I don't know what's going to happen next. Emily looked at him. And for the first time she didn't feel afraid. It started with a pillow. Just one. But it was fluffier. Thicker. Left on her side of the couch one evening after dinner. She didn't ask. He didn't mention it. But it was there. Then came the tea. Jasmine. The kind she always made for herself in the mornings. Except now. It was already steeped. Hot. Waiting on the kitchen counter with a ceramic lid to keep it warm. He wasn't there when she found it. But she knew. They started sharing meals. Quietly. Side by side. Not every night. But often enough that she stopped wondering if it was coincidence. He asked questions. Simple ones. How she liked the room. If the books in the library were in the right order. If the thermostat ever ran too cold. She answered. Carefully. Then one night he asked. Do the twins move a lot? She smiled. Only when I lie down. Pause. He nodded. That makes sense. He started leaving earlier from work. Coming back before it got dark. He didn't say why. She didn't press. But his coat hung by the door now. And there were 2 mugs drying on the rack. She caught herself noticing him. The way he always paused before speaking. How he used silence like punctuation. And how he never raised his voice, but somehow always got heard. She noticed herself changing too. Her guard wasn't down. Not yet. But it was tired. And she was starting to listen to the quiet. One night, Emily couldn't sleep. She walked into the living room, barefoot, hair tied up, sweater loose over her shoulders. Nathan sat there. Alone. Book open, unread. The fireplace was low. The light was soft. She didn't sit right away. Just stood by the doorway. Watching him. "You're changing," she said finally. He didn't look up. "I hope so." She stepped closer. "You weren't like this before." "I know." Silence. Then, "I never knew how to care for someone," he said. "But I want to learn." Emily sat down beside him. Not close. Not far. Enough to hear the truth in his voice. Enough to know she wasn't imagining things. He didn't try to touch her. Didn't make promises. Just let the moment sit. Like something fragile. Real. And in the glow of that small, quiet room, neither of them felt alone. Not for the first time in years. It all began at 2:47 a.m. A sharp pain. Then another. Closer. Stronger. Emily didn't panic. She just gripped the bed rail, breathing slowly, while the world outside remained asleep. Dr. Morgan arrived 15 minutes later. No sirens. No rushing. Only calm, precise, urgency. Nathan came down the stairs barefoot. His hair a mess. Eyes wide open. "She's in labor," the doctor said. "I'm staying," Nathan replied. No one argued. The delivery room wasn't in a hospital. It was right inside the mansion. A private medical suite, built for emergencies. Dr. Morgan had overseen the pregnancy from the start. And she confirmed. Both babies were head down, a rare alignment in twin births. The delivery could proceed naturally. But a surgical team stood ready in case of complications. Emily clenched her teeth. Her hands trembled. Her vision blurred. But she didn't scream. She focused. Breathe. Push. Nathan held her hand. At first he said nothing. But he never let go. Time passed in scattered fragments. Sweat. Tears. Commands. A countdown to life itself. Then, a sound. Sure. Alive. The first baby. A boy. Nathan nearly buckled under the rush of emotion. They wrapped the child and placed him in his arms. So tiny, his skin-pink eyes still shut. Nathan didn't blink. Didn't speak. Just looked. As if the world had burst open. And poured something sacred into his chest. Emily kept pushing. Kept trying. Then, a second cry. Softer. But more real than anything. A girl. Nathan looked at them both. A boy. A girl. 2 heartbeats. 2 lives. And the woman who brought them here. He walked over to her. She was pale. Exhausted. But conscious. They looked at each other. He held both babies in his arms. And whispered, "You are extraordinary." His eyes glistened. "Thank you. For bringing them to me." Emily couldn't speak. She just nodded. Then reached out. And touched the tiny hand of her son. There were no cheers. No announcements. Only breathing. 3 new rhythms filling the room. And a man. No longer running from his own heart. The sun was just starting to rise. Soft light slipped through the tall windows, casting long shadows across the marble floor. Emily sat on the edge of the bed, fully dressed. The twins were asleep, safe in their bassinets. Her bag was by the door. Small. Quiet. Already zipped. No one had to tell her it was time. She knew. The contract was clear. No attachments. No extensions. No exceptions. She stood up. Her hands lingered for a moment on the edge of the crib. One last glance at her children. She didn't cry. Instead, she pressed her lips against their foreheads. Then turned away. Footsteps soft. Back straight. Heart aching. She opened the front door. And froze. Nathan was standing there. Hair messy. Still in the same shirt from last night. Eyes red like he hadn't slept. In his hand. The contract. She blinked. He looked at her. Then without a word he tore it in half. Right down the middle. What? Then again. And again, until it was nothing but shredded paper in his hands. I don't want it to end like this, he said. Emily's breath caught. Nathan. You were supposed to walk away, he said, voice low. You weren't supposed to stay in my heart. He shook his head. But you did. She didn't move. Didn't speak. So he stepped closer. I meant what I said when we started. No love. No ties. But I was wrong. He reached for her hand. I want more than this deal. She looked at him. Eyes searching. But what if one day you change your mind? She asked. What if all of this, me, the babies, it becomes too much? Nathan didn't hesitate. Then I'll spend every single day proving to you. I won't. Silence. Not empty. Not cold. Just full of everything unspoken. Finally, Emily whispered, You're not the man I first met. No, he said quietly. But maybe now I'm becoming someone worth staying for. She didn't say yes. She didn't say no. She just took a slow breath, then stepped back inside. The first night was chaos. 2 babies. No sleep. No clue what they were doing. Nathan held the bottle like it might explode. Emily laughed for the first time in weeks. Wrong end, she said gently. I'm a CEO. I run empires. And I can't figure out a nipple, he muttered. They laughed again. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. Over time things settled. Mornings began with soft cries and warm bottles. Afternoons with spilled toys and lullabies. Evenings with exhausted cuddles on the couch. He learned to change diapers. She learned to trust again. He stayed up late reading baby books under dim light. She started sketching again. Faces, hands, fleeting moments. They argued sometimes. They disagreed. But they always came back to the same place. The nursery. The quiet hum of 2 sleeping babies. And each other. One night, while folding laundry, Emily looked up. The twins were in matching pajamas. Nathan was humming off-key. And something inside her softened. Did you ever think we'd get here? She asked. He looked at her. Every day, he said. She blinked. I didn't, she whispered. I did, he replied. From the first time you didn't run away. Spring arrived quietly. The garden bloomed. Lavender. Peonies. Small white roses. And on a soft Sunday morning, they stood beneath the old oak tree. No priest. No guests. Just a handwritten vow, 2 gold rings, and 2 giggling babies in tiny bow ties. Emily wore a simple white dress. Nathan wore a linen shirt, sleeves rolled up. You ready for this? She asked. He smiled. I already chose you. Today just makes it official. She handed him a ring. I don't need a promise, she said. Just the truth. He slid it onto her finger. And I'll give it to you, he said, every day. They kissed, laughed, cried a little. Somewhere between the dirt and flowers, a family took root, not because they had to, but because they chose to. The garden was quiet. Sunlight filtered through the trees as 2 toddlers ran through the grass, chasing butterflies. Nathan and Emily sat beneath the old oak. A breeze moved gently through the leaves. They watched their children laugh. Then Emily glanced at a framed photo in her lap. Her mother. Smiling, gentle, and finally at peace. She would have loved this, Emily whispered. She gave you everything, Nathan said. And you gave her more time. Emily nodded. But you gave me the rest of my life. He reached for her hand. You gave me more than heirs, he said. You gave me something to believe in. She smiled through the tears. And you gave me someone to live for. They sat there in silence. No contracts. No expectations. Just the life they built. Out of choice, not obligation. A family. Rooted in love. More than a contract. If this story touched your heart, let us know in the comments. Subscribe for more stories of healing, redemption, and love. Hit the bell so you never miss a chapter.